Hello again, everyone. This is Louis Setti speaking as the Blue Ridge Reporter. On Friday, February 3rd, 2012, earlier this evening on the Bret Baier special report on Fox News, which was broadcast in my area at 6 p.m., there was the usual panel of essentially establishment neoconservative commentators. And the topic was the significant story that Israel has indicated that it might well attack Iran because of its growing potential as a nuclear-capable country regarding offensive weapons, not simply nuclear power. And the discussion essentially validated and endorsed Ron Paul's consistently correct, constitutionally speaking, foreign policy, which is one that should be designed simply, exclusively, for the protection of the United States. And by the way, why is that a constitutional standard? Because Congress has been given the authority by the states, which created the Constitution and the federal government, to spend money for certain things. One is for defense. Therefore, any foreign policy that contemplates the use of military force must be limited to defense because that's the only activity that Congress can spend money for regarding use of the military, at least constitutionally speaking. The Neocon commentators endorsed impliedly Ron Paul's thesis that sanctions don't really help American foreign policy, because the specific question was raised: have the sanctions over the course of a decade done anything to reduce the likelihood or the probability that Iran would be able to develop and launch a nuclear weapon? And one of the commentators, in fielding this specific question, was quite emphatic. And he said, regarding that issue, the sanctions had zero, that's his quote, zero effect regarding deterring or impairing the Iranian regime from developing nuclear weapons. He also said, what Ron Paul has made so clear, and oftentimes against such hostility, that the sanctions only hurt the people. The currency of Iran has been depreciated, and there has been economic pain. But regarding the objective of impairing or preventing the Iranian regime from developing a nuclear weapon, the sanctions have had zero effect, according to this neocon commentator, even though they've been going on 10 years. Another theme throughout the discussion and the comments was that it was assumed, an unstated assumption, but assumed, an implied assumption, that the United States would have some role in this, or should consider at least some role, regarding deterring or destroying the Iranian nuclear capability. However, the commentators were in agreement, without specifically saying so, that Israel could do this alone. Israel was capable. They could take out the Iranian program, and in fact, Israel was capable of withstanding a barrage of rockets that might be fired upon Israel by Iran and perhaps Iraq and maybe some other Middle Eastern sources. So again, Ron Paul's thesis that Israel is a, shall we say, big boy country, and Israel can take care of itself and doesn't really need the active participation of the United States. But as in all things regarding Ron Paul, regarding in particular foreign policy, he was never credited. His comments were never mentioned. They have been instructive, they have been helpful, they have opened the eyes to many people what a proper American foreign policy should be, and he should get credit for that. But in the discussion tonight, impliedly endorsing and validating two aspects of Ron Paul's foreign policy, that Israel can act alone and that the sanctions really don't work regarding the foreign policy objective, but yet Ron Paul was never mentioned. Now in a newscast, we should talk about what's new. But that's not new. It's been going on for some years now. This is Lou Rossetti speaking as the Blue Ridge Reporter.